Okay. Okay.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Really, thank you so much, everyone, for coming this morning. It really means so much to us to see all of you here. Yoshi. Yoshiyahu Reuven. You are named after two relatives, two characters from Tanakh, and one dinosaur. Your first name, Yoshiyahu, comes from Margot's foster brother, Yosef.
The first child who ever joined our family was Yosef. He grew up in an abusive home, and we were blessed when Ohel placed him with our family. I really think it's because we had such a beautiful experience with Yosef that my family continued to take in other foster children. Yosef came to our home when he was 8 years old. I was 3, my brother Sam was 5, and Yosef was the epitome of fun. He was our playmate, he was our friend, he was our super cool older brother. We had no idea of the ugly world that he had grown up in, one so far from our loving and nurturing home. His innocence was stripped away from him at such a young age, and it's something that I never did and never will understand. Some of his happiest years and happiest memories took place in my home at 250 Dewey Place in Teaneck. When he was 10 years old, he was adopted by the most wonderful parents, but unfortunately his life continued to be very difficult for him, and 2 years ago he was found dead. Although he passed away when he was 28 years old, when I picture him, I still imagine the picture that's hanging with all of our family pictures above our piano, this 8-year-old, fun-loving, really cute boy who just wanted to play basketball in our backyard. As he had no biological family, there was no one who was ever able or would sit Shiva for him. And I was never really able to mourn the loss of somebody so special to me, so loving, and so hopeful.
You want to note that Margot's grandfather, her father's father's name was also Yosef, and his yahrzeit, his 27th yahrzeit, was actually 3 days after little Yoshi was born. So Margot's cousin Yosef Reinstein is already named after Yosef, but it is the same name. So thank God we didn't want to use the name Yosef, because my father's first name is Yosef, and really, thank God, it's the best reason not to want to use that name. So instead we went with the name Yoshiyahu, for 2 reasons. First of all, Yosef, Yoshiyahu, sounds very similar, thought it was a very similar name. But second of all, very interestingly, Yoshiyahu HaMelech's life can be found in Malachim Bet and Divrei Hayamim and other places, that has a lot of really striking parallels to Yosef Baron's life that Margot just described. So first, just some background on Yoshiyahu. Yoshiyahu is the grandson of the king Menashe, who was the worst, most evil, corrupt king that the Jews had ever seen. After Yoshiyahu's father, Ammon, was assassinated, so Yoshiyahu came to the throne at the very young age of 8. And from the beginning, the Tanakh tells us, "Vayaz hayashar be'enei Hashem, vayelech b'chol derech David aviv, v'lo sar yamin u'smol." Yoshiyahu chose a path of righteousness. And even at that young age of 8, he started already from the beginning to implement a reform amongst the Jewish people throughout Israel. He started removing Avodah Zarah. He started implementing better values all over the country, at least he was trying. Throughout this process, while he was cleaning out the Beit HaMikdash, he came across a Sefer Torah. And he read it, and it shocked him. And he realized how far the Jewish people had really strayed from where he wanted them to be, and all the more so, he kept on trying to share that experience, to share that Torah with everyone else. Huldah HaNeviah let him know that Yoshiyahu, unfortunately, you're not going to be successful. You're not going to change the Jewish people within your lifetime. You're not going to remove the impending destruction. I'm sorry, Yoshiyahu, it's a lost cause. But Yoshiyahu kept trying anyway. And for the rest of his short life, he spent trying to reform the Jewish people, trying to remove the idolatry and all the evil and corrupt values that had been put in place before him.
Yoshiyahu had so much hope and so much belief in the Jewish people that he just refused to accept that no matter how hard he tried, his short lifetime couldn't undo the generations of evil perpetuated by his father and his grandfather. Yoshiyahu was killed in war in the 31st year of his reign. Tanakh doesn't tell us exactly why he was taken at such a young age. But one thing that I think is clear is that in a society that was just so hopeless, God couldn't allow Yoshiyahu's hope to endure. His story ends with the following phrase: "V'chamohu lo haya lefanav melech asher shav el Hashem b'chol vavo u'b'chol nafsho u'b'chol me'odo." There was no one like him. There's no king like him who returned to Hashem with all of his heart and all of his soul and with everything that he had.
Margot mentioned the picture of Yosef that's hanging in her home, so we thought it would be appropriate to bring a picture of Yoshiyahu also. It's an unfinished project. It's been sitting in our apartment. Margot's been telling people it's a project she's working on for her Nevi'im Rishonim class, but it's Yoshiyahu. Even from these short descriptions that we just said, the similarities between these two characters is incredible. Both of them emerged from a household that was devoid of values, and yet both of them were able to break free from that. Both of them, at the age of 8, moved into a new place and already started bringing their own light and values into the world. And both of them had their lives cut short. Yoshiyahu HaMelech was killed in the 31st year of his reign, and this coming year would be Yosef's 31st year of life. Finally, if you want another cosmic connection between the names Yosef and Yoshiyahu, so in a recent poll of top favorite cartoon characters, the top number 3 most beloved video game character is a little adorable dinosaur named Yoshi. Now, most people don't know this, but actually, before he was called Yoshi, Yoshi's name was Yossi. You can look at the first sentence in the Wikipedia article about Yoshi. His name was Yossi. So all the more so, we just thought Yosef, Yossi, Yoshiyahu, Yoshi. It was perfect. It all just fit together.
He's also a really cute turtle.
Not him, him. So that's your first name, Yoshiyahu. Now for your second name. Don't worry, this one's a lot shorter. So first of all, Reuven was Yaakov's Bechor. And Yoshi, you are our Bechor.
I am the granddaughter of 4 Holocaust survivors, each of whom's entire families were murdered in the Holocaust. In Kenai Nahara, our family today has grown so much that we've been able to name after almost every single one of them. All of the boys actually, but one. My father's father, Yosef's brother, whose name was Reuven. I don't know that much about him, but I do know that in a way calling him after Reuven is like closing that circle. And all of the legacies of the men in my family who the Nazis, Yimach Shemam, tried to exterminate are now completely being carried out like amongst us today.
Yosef Baron, Yoshiyahu HaMelech, and Reuven Reinstein's lives were all cut short. And our bracha to you, Yoshiyahu Reuven, is that you can continue to live the life of Yiddishkeit and Judaism that they could not, and that you can internalize and continue forward the values that they were not able to successfully finish in bringing into this world.
Now for some thank yous. First and foremost, we need to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for giving us a healthy child. And going through pregnancy and labor was like the most awe-inspiring experience.
Yeah, you can call it nature, you can call it a miracle, but every time he blinks, every time he sneezes, every time he poops, he knows how to poop. Don't worry. It's just the most amazing, beautiful thing. I don't know how we learned how to do these things.
We also want to thank Dr. Orbach, our tzaddik of Amohel, and Dr. Daniel Rosenak, my doctor, and our incredibly dedicated doula, Dina Dvor-Jacob. There's no way to thank our parents. They're the reason we're here. They're the reason he's here. I'm dead. But every value that we hope to pass down to Yoshi, we learned from you. So Mom and Dad on FaceTime, Facebook Live. We're so lucky to have such loving and supportive parents, and we're so fortunate that Yoshi will be able to have such a close relationship with his grandma and his grandpa, his Davi and his Zedi.
It's also such a blessing that Yoshi has 4 great-grandparents who, I don't know if you're up watching it right now, but we'll send you the video in the morning. But we just know that you're all waiting to shower your love upon him the moment you meet him, so thank you. There's one last point that we want to make. Yoshi is the first child in Margot and my immediate families to be born in Israel. Now, having a baby in Israel and knowing that the Bris would be in Israel was not simple. My parents, my grandparents are all in America. We both have siblings in America, cousins, aunts, uncles. We have nephews. We even now have a niece who was born an hour and a half before Yoshi, who is not able to be here this morning. And we really, really recognize that and wish that they could have been here this morning. However, on the other side, we just can't express how incredibly special it's been to give birth and to bring a new life into the world in Israel, in Yerushalayim.
As I sat in the delivery room, I had a quick FaceTime with my sister-in-law, Hannah, and my brother, and she pointed out right away that she could see all the Jewish stars on the sheets, and that she saw the emblem of Hadassah and Keren, and she just so poignantly noted how none of my grandparents could have ever imagined that they would have a great-grandchild born in Yerushalayim. So we're so happy to be here, and specifically part of this very holy community in the Alon Shvut, part of Yeshivat Har Etzion, part of Matan. It's the most unbelievable way to bring a child into this world. So thank you.
Thank you so much.